Arsenal targets another Martin Odegaard. Gunners submit £43 million bid to sign Los Blancos star. Arteta's next Odegaard. Arsenal submit £43 million bid to sign astonishing star. Here is a fact-based summary of the story contents. It would be fair to say that, despite being just 5 days old, the new year has started brilliantly for Arsenal. On New Year's Day, the Gunners' biggest Premier League title rivals, Manchester City, were held to a 1-1 draw away to Sunderland, and then a couple of days later dropped to more points at home to Chelsea. On top of the citizens starting to stumble, Mikel Arteta's side have found some form in recent weeks, and since their defeat to Aston Villa at the start of last month, have won 7 games on the bounce. Moreover, with the transfer window now open, Arsenal have been linked with several exciting internationals, including one who could be another Martin Odegaard-esque signing. Arsenal target another Martin Odegaard. Arsenal have looked good over the last couple of weeks, smashing Aston Villa 4-1 at home, and then holding their nerve away to Bournemouth to come out 3-2 winners. One of the club's most impressive performers in recent games has been Odegaard, who looks like he could be on his way back to his very best. For example, against the Villains, he played a lovely ball into the penalty area for Martin Zubimendi's goal, and then, against the Cherries, he provided the assist for Declan Rice's first strike. Moreover, he also seems to be getting back into the swing of running games from a deeper position when the situation demands he do so. So, with all that in mind, it's not hard to see why the club would be so keen to bring in someone who could be seen as another Odegaard-type signing this year. At least that's what they appear keen on doing, according to a recent report from Spain, which claims Arsenal are interested in Brahim Diaz. In fact, the report goes further than that, revealing that the Gunners have already presented Real Madrid with an offer of around €50 million, which is about £43 million. The story claims that the North Londoners are keen to wrap up this deal as soon as possible, and that while Real are not opposed to selling the international ace, they are still deliberating the prospect. In all, it could be a complicated and somewhat costly transfer to get over the line, but given Diaz's ability, it's one Arsenal should pursue, especially as he could be another Odegaard-esque addition. Why Diaz would be another Odegaard for Arsenal? Now, it might be a little surface level, but the first unavoidable similarity between the potential transfer of Diaz and Odegaard is that it would be another example of Arsenal signing someone from Real Madrid. However, the comparison goes deeper than just the club they have or potentially would come from. For example, like the Gunners' number 8, the astonishing 26-year-old, as dubbed by Mina Izuki, is someone who can either play as the most creative midfielder or even out on the right. Furthermore, like the Norwegian, he is also a crucial member of his national team, scoring 12 goals and providing 2 assists in just 19 senior caps for Morocco. Finally, perhaps the most significant point of comparison is that FBref ranks the Arsenal captain as the 5th most similar midfielder to the Real Madrid star across Europe's top 5 leagues, the Champions League, and the Europa League over the last 365 days. The best way to understand how such a conclusion has been reached is to look at the underlying metrics in which the pair ranks so closely. In this instance, these metrics include things like expected goals, key passes, expected assists, clearances, crosses and more, all per 90. Ultimately, while he might not be the biggest name in the game, adding Diaz to Arteta's squad could be just what Arsenal need to ensure they finally get over the line this season. Brahim Diaz's strike against Tanzania secures Morocco's place in AFCON quarter-finals. Morocco advanced to the Africa Cup of Nations quarter-finals on Sunday with a 1-0 win over Tanzania in Rabat, with Real Madrid star Brahim Diaz scoring a wonderful strike in the second half of a bruising encounter. The win keeps alive Morocco's hopes of ending a 50-year wait for a continental crown on home soil. Diaz, the outstanding contender for the player of the tournament so far, extended his run of scoring in every match of the competition as he opened the scoring in the 64th minute, beating Tanzania goalkeeper Hussein Masalonga at his near post. However, the Taifa Stars, who have still never won a game in the Nations Cup, had big chances in each half, and the team starting with 7 home-based players will rue not seizing the possibility of a seismic upset. Despite being ranked 101 places below their opponents in the FIFA World Rankings, Tanzania sought to take the game to the tournament hosts from the off and carved out the best chance of the half before the match had settled. Selemani Abdallah broke down the right in the 3rd minute, and his excellent cross evaded Yachini Bunu to find Simon Msuva, unmarked at the back post. The forward, however, perhaps not expecting the ball to reach him, could only look on in disbelief as his off-balance header flew wide of the stranded Morocco goalkeeper. Tanzania continued to look adventurous in attack and aggressive without the ball, although steadily Morocco began to impose themselves, with Neil El Ainawi firing over from range on 10 minutes, before Ismail Sabori had a close-range header ruled out for offside after he'd met out Ezolzuli's free kick soon afterwards. Late in the half, Ayoub El-Kobi, one of the stars of the Nations Cup so far, sent a diving header wide after meeting a fine cross, with the Morocco fans at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium growing increasingly concerned with their team's inability to break the deadlock. Indeed, Morocco, despite the return of captain Achraf Hakimi to the lineup for his first competitive start in 2 months, lacked the zip and intensity that had characterized their earlier performances in the tournament. Without midfielder Azzedine Ounahi, who appears to have been injured in yesterday's training session, entering the stadium on crutches and with his right foot in a protective boot, Morocco lacked the control, invention and change of pace that the Girona man is responsible for bringing to this team. His replacement, Bilal El Khanis, sent a hopeful effort over from the edge of the 50th minute as the Atlas Lions sought to impose themselves after the break, with Masalonga making a comfortable save to deny an Ezolzuli header soon after the restart. Tanzania again forged a magnificent effort to open the scoring in the 57th minute, when Bunu parried Mohamed Husseini's speculative effort into the path of Abdallah, who calmly centered the ball for Faisal Salam, only for the Ozam midfielder to blaze over the bar with the goal at his mercy. Minutes later, they were to pay for their profligacy, with Hakimi forging an opening with some fine footwork on the right flank, taking advantage of some overly respectful Tanzania defending, before feeding Diaz. The Real Madrid man still had much to do, evading the attentions of Ibrahim Hamid before tearing down towards Masalonga's goal and catching the keeper unawares with an effort that squeezed in his near post. Diaz and his teammates celebrated the winner by raising Ounahi's number 8 and waving it in front of the home fans, hinting further, perhaps, at the severity of the 25-year-old injury. Diaz was replaced in the 84th minute, apparently in some discomfort, which will concern head coach Walid Regragui, although he will recognise that much more is expected from his Morocco side as they look to get their hands on the crown. Tanzania, aware they should have been in a stronger situation, turned to veteran Mbwana Samata from the bench, although they were unable to put the Atlas Lions under significant pressure before full-time, with fierce late penalty shouts for an Adam Messina push on substitute Ideale, ignored by the officials.